Good afternoon all, it's 5:30. I'll declare open the Ordinary Council meeting on Monday the 22nd of June 2026. In accordance with the Local Government Act of 1993, Cowra Council is live streaming and recording this meeting and will upload the recording to Council's website. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being live streamed and recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at council meetings, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. I have no apologies. I expect that Councillor Watt will arrive shortly. Councillor and staff, please indicate in relation to any interest you need to declare. A, what report or item you are declaring an interest in. B, whether the interest is pecuniary or non-pecuniary. And C, what is the nature of that interest. Councillor Watt. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary minor conflict in item 4.5, the Dryden Memorial. I will leave the chamber as I had identified a financial anomaly in the original papers because I'm chair and signatory to Cowra Information and Neighbourhood Centre. So I will leave the chamber on that one. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Downing.
I'd like to declare mine a non-pecuniary interest in item 4.4, the donation to Master Partner Hun. As the business I work for has also made a donation, but I will stay in the room.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. We have no presentations and no one, members of the public has registered with the General Manager's office to speak at this meeting. So I'll take item 2, confirmation of minutes to confirm the minutes of the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 25th of May 2026. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
Councillor Downing. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Kiss, write a reply.
Not needed, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. I'll now take a motion to confirm the minutes of the Extraordinary Council meeting held on the 9th of June 2026. Councillor Kiss, Councillor Horton. Thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
Councillor Horton. Anyone else wish to comment? Write a reply, Councillor Kiss.
No, thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Thanks, carried. 3.1 is a mayoral minute of the Central New South Wales Joint Organisation Board meeting of the 27th of May 2026. I'm happy to move that. Councillor Kiss, thank you. This is as tabled. We discussed it at the information meeting. It was a meeting of the board in Sydney. Then the next day we had a meeting with the ministers in Parliament House. Anybody got any questions on any of that? So yeah, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I would just like to add that this is one of the reasons that our Central New South Wales Joint Organisation is such a vital piece of our collective advocacy. It's fascinating to look through. It has all of those prime topics that we are faced with out here in the Central West, whether it's the Central to Sydney to Central West Transport Corridor or our health and ageing priorities, disaster mitigation. We get a louder voice when we speak together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment?
Yeah,
Councillor Wright.
Just a question. What's the benefit of the shared JO ARIC committee?
Basically cost. The government's brought in, we've got to have an ARIC, and the most effective way to do it was to combine with other ARICs, and it was a sheer cost thing more than anything else.
What would they discuss that the member councils of the JO don't discuss?
Sorry?
Well, each council has an ARIC.
Yep.
Who is a member of the JO. So you're just going to rehash what's talked about at the other ARIC meetings?
There's not a lot of discussion on the ARIC at JO meetings, but there are certain regulatory functions that have to be addressed, and I think that's about all they will address. At our ARIC, we don't address the JO functions at all.
Mr. Chairman, I'd add that that's correct. The council ARICs are confined to discussing the audit, risk and improvement of each council. The JO ARIC is purely looking at the joint organisation as an organisation, not its constituent councils.
The committee, for the sake of having a committee, I think, is all the members are looking, that go to the JO are looking after their interests of their own council within the region, and if you're not going to talk about that and only going to talk about regulation that's handed down from the state government, which is very similar to what we handed on to us. Anyway, good luck. Give Councillor Bruce Reynolds another meeting to go to.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? Right, reply. The JO is a very good thing. We do have a louder voice and we speak together. Just the fact that the ministers will all come and talk to us, we do get a benefit from it. So I think it's very important that we do that. I'll take a motion. I'll have a vote. All those in favour to confirm those minutes? Against? Passed. Thank you. 4.1. These are the general committee recommendations of Tuesday the 9th of June. 4.1 was the mayoral minute on rural and regional health. Councillor Horton. Councillor Watt, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Only to say, similar to what we just discussed in terms of the JO, where there's a collective voice on particular issues, it helps us elevate and escalate those issues. So this is one example of that. Thank you.
Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we did speak about this in a little bit of detail 2 weeks ago. I think this is a really strong piece of articulation for what we're looking for in terms of improvements in rural and regional health, and something that's often misunderstood or forgotten in the cities, particularly as there is a real focus on healthcare both at state and federal government at the moment, but I think there is a missing piece in understanding quite how far we have to travel often for good quality healthcare. We're very lucky now that some of our issues have been resolved in Cowra in having 6 new GPs join the medical centre and another centre opening up, but it's all very dependent on the flows in the butterfly effect of the moment, and having something like a GP register and these kind of support networks for the regions, I think would be really beneficial to making sure you don't have to fight so hard to make sure you've got basic healthcare. Particularly something we've talked about a lot here in the chamber is the impact of reduced birthing services, which is a priority here of restoring safe local maternity care. Was just having the conversation on the weekend with someone who kind of went, oh, you want me, like, I need to travel an hour away to get some kind of healthcare. It's not like something I can put on hold to clock in during business hours at another time. So I think this is a really strong agenda, and hopefully we'll be able to have some impact as a collective with the state and federal governments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? I'd just like to say that I think we have to thank Dr. Joe McGurr. He's taken the running with this, and I think he has a voice in the government. So I'm pretty hopeful that we'll get something out of it. Right, a reply, Councillor Horton?
No, not required. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Passed. Thank you. 4.2, the Community Satisfaction Survey. Councillor Downing. Councillor Watt, thank you. Councillor Downing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did discuss this in greater detail a fortnight ago. Just to say that thank you to the community for participating, anyone who did give us their feedback. It's great to get feedback from the community. We know what to work on, we know what we're doing well, and I think this gives us a clearer idea of what our community is looking for going forward. So,
thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as Councillor Downing said, we discussed this in detail some time ago. I think would definitely echo Councillor Downing's thoughts of thank you for everyone for participating, but also I think congratulations to Council for asking the consultants who put this forward to make sure that this was a more representative community survey than those in the past, and seeing that there is a very good representation of our First Nations community is a first in the community surveys I've seen in my time as council, and I think these documents, as Councillor Downing says, informs what we do going forward and make sure that we're spending community money where the community wants us to spend it. So we need to make sure that what we're being told in that survey is accurate and reflective of our community, and I think we've done that here. So thank you very much for all the work to our staff and to the consultants who put this together, and it's very useful for us to have this kind of flag to see where we're at and look going forward, particularly flagging the call for a bit more consultation, not just communication from our council. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Wright.
I think I said it at the committee meeting, but it was unusual, the breakdown in the clients that did the survey was very similar to what our actual breakup in the community is after a census or something. So I don't know if they had ways of selecting the different groups within our community, but at least it should have showed a fair representation of what we were. Very positive, the feedback at the community at the committee meeting. We were sort of doing okay and often a lot better in our neighbour councils, but what I come away from it was that we still got a lot of work to do, and we just can't say yes, we're ahead of the pack, everyone's reasonably happy, and we'll just trot along, because it's apparent our roads still need good maintenance and so forth. We need a good business development in our area, and hope to get more people here to live and to provide the services of rates and water and waste to them. So yeah, it was a good report, but it certainly left areas where we can improve on. Thank you.
Councillor Fagan.
Yes, could I just comment that it was a good report. We have received great community feedback about what the good things we do and our facilities and how high standard they are. I do think we have been taken note of the fact that we need to spend more money on rural roads, and that I'm sure the Director of Operations is highly aware of that. It is also something that every other council struggles with, and I believe that this type of survey actually highlights the fact that people are very aware of the roads, and it might be a good thing because we can negotiate with our neighbours, get with our neighbours. The JO can work towards advocating for more funding for roads. So it is a good survey. It does give us a really good big direction, especially as far as repairing and maintaining our roads. And I think we need more money for that. And I think that's very loud and clear. And we'll be able to take that to the government and to the people who have the money. So I think it's a good indication. And I thank everyone who's been involved.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? I'll just make the comment that sticks in my mind that the people that did the survey had never seen a sewerage satisfaction as high as ours was, And I congratulate the director on that fact that, you know, I suppose if you hit the button and it disappears, it's working well, which ours does. So I congratulate the director on that. Take what you can get. I'll put the motion. Councillor Downing, want to reply?
Just quickly, I'd like to say that I find council a really odd concept. It's run as a business, but none of the customers or clients have a choice of going somewhere else, not like any other business in town. So the fact that we're seeking out their opinions and we're listening to them and we're getting great feedback on some things and we're getting clear direction on things that are not working is really good, considering that we really don't have to fight for customer service. And the fact that we're improving is really, really good.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Pass. Thank you. 4.3, Local Government Remuneration Tribunal report on mayoral and councillor fees. Councillor Wright. Councillor Horton. Thank you. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an annual recommendation that comes to council from my part. In their wisdom, they recommended to increase our remuneration a certain percentage. I'd like to thank them for doing that, but I wish they'd go away from working out what your remuneration is on your postcode, and rural and regional people, we're getting far less than our city companions, and we often do more work. We have to make decisions and operate budgets that the Sydney councils don't have to do. That is water and sewage. We have to try and maintain a water system and a sewage system which needs to be upgraded, and it's in many towns it's coming to the end of its life. Some towns it's just beginning, and it's many millions of dollars that have to be found, or you'd have to convince the government to put some money in, and it does make working out the budget each year a bit more confronting, and working out, do we not do it this year and wait a bit longer? Can we squeeze more out of our assets before it gets to the point where we have to spend the money? Even our roads are very similar. We're very reliant on the federal government road recovery money to do a lot of our work, and also for the Transport for New South Wales to spend money in our area on the regional roads and highways, that we can get a bit of contracting money out of, to get a bit of profit out of that, to help our road upgrades, whereas our city cousins have everything built new for them, nearly, and at a very exorbitant cost. And I bet you they don't get 3 quotes and have to work out which one they're going to take, because that's just done by the lottery office in Macquarie Street. And then they seem to be able to find more money to finish those projects, so the city people do have an infrastructure upgrade that it's usable to them, where if we run out of money, we sort of either got to stop or borrow more money that the ratepayers have to pay. And I think with what's been in the news lately, with council behaviour and some of the city councils, if they were paid a bit less, they might take a bit more interest in actually making a decision rather than just enjoying the fat of the iPart. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, just to pick up on that thread, for those in the community that may be of the opinion that councillors shouldn't be paid anything, I can rest assure you that all the councillors in this room are not here because of the remuneration, that's for sure. People put their put themselves and their name forward for council for a whole range of reasons, a sense of duty, a sense of community, a sense of service, a sense of wanting to leave the place better than what it was when you found it. Certainly not for the remuneration, that's for sure. So, yes, happy to support the recommendation. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Wright, right of reply.
No, there's been no opposition, so I've got nothing to reply to. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Pass. Thank you. 4.4, donation request, Master Penha Hun, attendance at the Barker Academy in Spain. Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, we discussed this at the committee meeting. This young gentleman at a very young age, or I suppose you don't call gentlemen, they're called something else, whatever when you're young, he's more than a child. And he hasn't even reached his teenage years, but he's been spotted as a future very good soccer player by an overseas academy, and has been offered a place in the academy for a month or a fortnight or something, and it does put a lot of pressure on the family. I hope the young fellow does understand what he's been picked for and what he can get out of it. And but from what I've heard, he's a lovely child and does well at school, and I think this might just help the family to get things together, and indicates that the community is behind him, and it takes a little bit of pressure off everyone else in the community that they haven't got to buy a raffle ticket or so forth if they can't afford to, but they are helping sponsor a child to an international academy as part of their rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I won't speak too much more because we did discuss this at length in our general meeting, but to say I wish him luck, and also that hopefully we can hear a bit about how he went. I know it's not included, it's in part of the qualifications for this donation, but gee, it'd be good to hear back from him and just see how his experience went. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? I will just say again, as I did at the general committee meeting, I will vote against it. I believe this young bloke is too young. I've spoken to his parents and told them that I would vote against it. They totally understood. They were in two minds as to whether, but they just said he may never get the chance again. So, look, I hope he becomes the best soccer player we've ever produced, but I will vote against it. So, purely on age. Anyone else wish to comment? Right or reply, Councillor Wright?
No, it's all right. Thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Just me. Thank you. Passed. 4.5 is the donation request for the Jayden Memorial Team. And before we get a mover and a seconder, I'll refer to the director, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
If we could just wait till Councillor Kiss leaves the room.
Sorry. Thanks. When this paper was originally put forward to the General Committee, we were provided with information about the donations towards the cause from different organisations in Cowra. We've been advised that these numbers were incorrect, so I'd just like to share with councillors what the actual contributions have been. The Cowra Information and Neighbourhood Centre has donated $500 towards this. Club Cowra has donated $1,000 towards this, and the Lockie Cafe has donated $2,000 towards this. So total contributions at this point are $3,500. Thank you.
Thanks for that clarification. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Cave. Downing? Councillor Cave? Councillor Downing?
Yes, this donation request came from Jaden's memorial team. His mum, sorry, I'll get it right, Takesha Pollard, who's requested the donation of $550 to form this memorial team in honour of her late son. The team will be created to compete in the Blacktown Knockout later this year. I believe that opportunities such as these allow Indigenous players not only just to play football, but they create space for celebration of heritage, foster leadership and health in the community, and provide participants with a sense of belonging. I think everyone in this room might agree that rugby league is a very important sport to our Indigenous community, and I'm happy to support them. And just to say, the funds will be spent on team equipment, gym bags and water bottles as discussed last fortnight.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Horton?
Can I just ask a question just to clarify first too? So, thanks for updating us on those figures. Have we got an estimate of the total cost to send the team?
I don't believe that we do.
Right.
I'll just double check the application.
Yep. Okay. We've had some discussion, and I just want to revisit it here as well. We've had some discussion about an increase in these types of requests. Now, obviously, I have an interest in sports and sporting teams, and we'll always try to find a way to support them. We've had some discussions about other teams and other competitions that are of a similar nature to this, and some that we've supported for extended periods of time. It may just be that going forward we need to review the levels of support we give to different teams to try and balance things out. If we find ourselves in a situation where we're being asked for repeated donations for similar things, we might just have to revisit at the time, if that becomes an issue, how much we've got for different organisations. I'm happy to support this one. Thank you.
If I may, through the chair, the general manager's just pointed out to me that the estimated cost to establish the team are actually $12,000.
Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Wright?
Yeah, no, it's this is the first time a Cowra team's gone to this knockout. I think I'm not sure, but and the applicant also indicated that the Arambi All Blacks, I think they're called, they weren't going to go. That they aren't going this year, and they might have went last year. So I'm not. It's all a bit vague, but so it's good that we have got a team going from Cowra. It's a little bit sad that it's a memorial to a child that's lost its life in the last 12 months, but we do make one way of healing with it. Healing the bereavement is to do things like this. Councillor Downing mentioned that rugby league is enjoyed by our First Nations community, and a PE teacher told me once a certain school in Cowra should be the best sports school in the town, if not the area, because they had the highest Indigenous rate. Community at their school, because they've got the best hand-eye coordination, and that's why they enjoy rugby league or any other sport, because they got very good hand-eye coordination, and hand-eye coordination is very important in learning. And so if they can learn some other things out of using what skills they have where they can, it might give them more confidence to do well at school. Thank you.
Councillor Watt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be supporting this request tonight. I think it makes me sad occasionally in this chamber we look at applications, particularly that come from our First Nation community, and say, oh, have we supported too many in that community. And we never have the same conversation when each school asks for people to go to school spec, or when it comes to the amount of dance or the amount of any other school that comes before us. What this allocation of money is put forward to is for council to have ways to support our community in getting opportunities they wouldn't have before, or creating opportunities in sport and in community where they can connect and where they can bond. And I think the two elements, well, the multifaceted elements really of this application here, of it being, I think as Councillor Wright said, a space to grieve and to connect and to commemorate Dryden, as well as travel to somewhere they haven't been before and play sport together and build relationships and build connections. When, we're looking at that cost of around $12,000 to go is a very significant one. It's been flagged here that this is a new group and this isn't one that's got support. I don't think we should ever say because one team's going the others can't, or we've given too much to that team when they're very different teams. The Rugby All Blacks is a quite professional and regarded team, and that shouldn't mean that smaller teams or developing teams and developing students shouldn't be able to participate as well. And maybe they're feeders for the Rugby All Blacks, who knows? But I just think we should be cautious how we approach this and what value we give. We've just looked at the community survey that said First Nations people are 9% of our community. So maybe let's not pigeonhole them too much and only allow them one application a year.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Before we go to the right of reply, I voted against this at the General Committee meeting. I will again. I take Councillor Horton's point that I think we probably put a line item in our budget for how much we spend on these things. These are cultural celebrations as much as they are sporting things, and I just struggle that if they keep forming more teams, we're going to get requests for more money for this, and I think we have to call a halt to it at some stage. Councillor Cave, right of reply.
I just want to thank you all explaining about how you feel and what you put yourself over and what we do for our own town. But yes, we do have to put something up there to protect in the long run, and because there is probably going to be more people come forward, and we're going to respect that, but maybe we put in place now, gives us the opportunity to put that, and I put my hand up to support.
Thank you. Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Just me. Passed. Thank you. Okay, 4.6, household curbside bin system audit for 2026. Councillor Watt. Councillor Downing. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was to present a report about our curbside bin audit. As we know, council received funding from the New South Wales EPA to work with our two neighbouring councils to assess what our FOGO would look like in the future, how many bins, how frequently, what is kind of happening in our bins now. So anyone who was worried that council was going through their bins, we promise it was for a good reason. We found in there that FOGO, as expected, is quite a significant proportion of our bins. And as we already knew as well, that recycling contamination and misunderstanding about recycling is quite significant in our community, and we have quite a bit of work to do there. There was a number of recommendations through the report, particularly around education in recycling and continuing these waste audits to be able to assess the tactics that we put in place to build that education, but also being aware of, while these stats show us what people are currently putting in their bins, when we move to FOGO, it will open it up as well for green organics, so it will add to the likely weight and volume of what's going through the green bins. But I think a really big example here of how significant this shift will be in terms of our environmental impact, that there is a lot going into our limited landfill, which we'll talk about later today, that doesn't need to be going there. So the more we can do in this space in diverting waste that can be recycled or reprocessed into other products means the longer life of our landfill and reduced resources we need to put in to expand that or do other things there. So I think this is a really important report. It's as many things a step in the progress towards what we need to do, but a very important step and gives us a good framework to go forward.
Thank you, Councillor Downing.
Thank you. Just to say that the results for council point us in the right direction for FOGO to come in by 2030, which we are mandated to do. And then also just to relaunch some recycling information for our community to show that there's their understanding and we can promote recycling. And I just want to say in the Murph app that you can download on your phone, it does have a little part in there which says what you can recycle, which is quite handy as well. So anyone in the community who'd like to download that app is very helpful.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? I'd just like to say that it was done anonymously. We didn't keep the names of anyone that whose bin we went through, so there's no repercussions to anybody. Councillor Wright?
Yeah, thank you. It appears the more sophisticated the community and the world becomes, the harder the issues are with handling waste. We have that much different packaging today that you got to be careful where goes what and what goes where. I think they've changed the those paper with a plastic lined ice cream containers are now eligible to go into the recyclable part of something. I know when they first started recycling glass, they'd send a semi-trailer load of glass down to wherever it was going to be recycled at, and if they found one china cup in it, the whole 25 tonne of glass was rejected and went to landfill. And when you're using your bins, it's usually at the end of the day when it's the last thing you really want to do is sort your rubbish, and yeah, you make mistakes, but it doesn't seem to be. It's not you don't get a second chance. It's just that it's a bit more going to landfill, and the EPA could charge us more for not reaching benchmarks that they worked out on a computer that we could handle, because I haven't got the privilege of my bins being picked up, but I think I start off all right sorting it out, then that just, we just got to put it in, or the dog knocks it over and you just fit it in whichever one you want. And as Councillor Downing said, it's an education thing, and we used to do a lot of this ourselves once, because we had the backyard incinerator. We burned anything we could burn, but now you can't do that because you're putting something into the atmosphere, or it doesn't burn at a high enough temperature to degrade it all. The tin things we used as containers a lot of the time, and the jars, but now we got more plastic containers coming out that you got to fill the cupboard up with, and the trouble is you got to have another cupboard to find the lids. So it's something that sounds good and could provide a lot of enthusiastic benefits of what we can do with recycling and everything. It is a bit of a headache, but I just ask people to try and work with it, to try and work a simple system out, and use what bins you need. Unfortunately, the more bins you got to have, it'll be another charge, but hopefully those charges can remain lower, because we won't have to pay the EPA any licence fees for sending too much stuff to landfill that we shouldn't be. I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Watt.
Not needed, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. 4.7, arrangement to lease or purchase 2 council-owned lots. Lot 1, DP 1201417, Lee Street, and Lot 1107219, River Street, and use the road reserves to comply with the general condition 13 of the Notice of Determination on DA 57/2020. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Wright, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. After my confusion with the pictures a fortnight ago that seemed to take forever to me get straight in the head, look, I'm still happy to support this recommendation. It just simply makes sense. Thank you.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, it's this is the DA that was passed in 2020 was to try and resolve an ongoing issue there that it had developed over many years and wasn't done illegally, but it was illegal because it crossed different boundaries of who owned what land, and the businesses operated as successfully as it could. So by changing these, moving these little bits of the road back onto another title, we're really not losing any road because we haven't had the use of them. So it's just tidying it up and give the owner of the business more satisfaction in that he is complying with what he's got to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. 4.8 is the Section 355 committee minutes from the Sale Yards Committee. Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, I'll give a bit of a spiel on this. At the committee meeting, not much more to add. That just we've got one of the best niche sale yards in New South Wales. But, we consistently have high prices for the trade lamb and the heavy trade lamb that are going into the local butcher shops and restaurants, and it's a very good product, and our vendors do very well. The buyers turn up from 3 states to bid on them, and at least 3. And I was speaking to the land broadcaster journalist last week. She was at the sale, just catching up on some information for the market going forward, and she said she can always call into the Cowra sale and get some sort of information for a story, plus she's got the benefit of having a very good meal at number 4 ranked canteen in Australia, and she said she feels that we're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? I'd just like to say I spend a fair bit of time over at the yards, and if you want to see industry in action, by gee, you go over there and it happens quick. It's just interesting to see. Thank you. I'll put the motion. Right, a reply, Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you. Just to do with that comment, it is done very quick, often on a wink and a nod or whatever. There is a set of rules on the canteen wall that you have to operate under, but we don't have a government. There is a government looking over us to make sure we do it, but it happens that quick that they really can't keep up. And but everything's above board. The council's the arbitrator there. That's why the staff have got to take every price of every animal that's sold there for any disputes later on and so forth. And it's just an old industry that hasn't changed a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Passed. Thank you. 4.9, the installation of electric vehicle destination charges. Councillor Watt. Councillor Horton. Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We were brought with a report to the last meeting which proposed that we add the budget estimate for the funding of the installation of EV chargers and adopt a charge for the next year that would be per kilowatt for users. We've put forward a different recommendation that's here to be adopted tonight to take the time to review that pricing. The concern that I raised then that the committee will hopefully support again tonight was that I think we should be charging a price that is competitive and encourages people to use EVs to travel to Cowra if they're using EVs. I think that cost should also be one that's putting money aside for the maintenance and ongoing works of this EV charger. It's unlikely that we would ever get any type of grant to maintain or replace this EV charger. And I think this is obviously going to be around for some time. So we've asked Council to take the time to investigate those costs of charge over time, how long they think it will last for, and likely replacement, so that we can have the capacity to meet those costs without needing to dig into other parts of our budget. Obviously, this isn't always the way we approach infrastructure, but when it is a user pay piece of work and predominantly likely to be used by tourists, hopefully, I think it's something that we should not be putting ourselves in that unknown situation where we could have to cover charges later on. I would note importantly that we have put the operational plan that will hopefully be adopted tonight. The budget shortfall to replace the EV charger has been included in that. So the financial, cost of this project is budgeted already in that long-term financial plan, and the staff can go ahead with developing that. We'll just take some time to make sure we get that price right. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks, Councillor Watt. I don't think there's any opposition to installing EV chargers, but it's just prudent for us to avail ourselves of all information possible, particularly in relation to maintenance costs. I mean, the report we were provided was fantastic, really good level of detail. I learned about the variations between effectively what are trickle charges really, and obviously the more robust higher end charges that require significant investment in infrastructure. But this is a dynamic space as well. Energy consumption, particularly around vehicles, is a really dynamic space at the moment. So I think it's prudent for us to make these decisions with as much information as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right of reply, Councillor Watt.
Not needed, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. 4.10, Caravan Park Capital Works Planning. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Wright. Thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, we did speak to this a fortnight ago in the General Committee, and quite simply, it's an example of the best laid plans not always working out. There's just simply had to be a bit of a juggle on what our priorities are in the works program for the caravan park, and accordingly the long-term financial plan needs to be modified to accommodate that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, everyone I do business with tells me maintenance is the most important thing, Peter. You've got to learn to do it. And this is what this is, and we've got to have a maintenance plan. And unfortunately, these switchboard upgrades and so forth are often the leader of the pack, because you've got to get any benefit out of any efficiency in electricity or how they supply it to you needs to be done. It was mentioned that since the committee meeting, I think that some of the renovations on the manager's residence may be deferred a little longer if we need to do it, but I think if we have identified it, it should be done as soon as possible. And because, believe it or not, this caravan park is often the first thing people, when they park there, they see what's there and how it operates, and that can be a big determinant if they stay another day or 2 days or even come back. So, and we have got a caravan park there to be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 4.11, Draft Environmental Sustainability Management Delivery Plan. Councillor Wright. Councillor Fagan, thank you. Councillor Wright.
We've put the environmental sustainability management plan together, and now it's going to be placed on exhibition for people to have a look at and provide any feedback. And this is an important thing today in a lot of people's eyes, and a lot of people are trying to live in the 21st century, but want the environment to go back to the 18th century, and we've got to try and find a compromise, and we hope this plan does it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fagan.
Yes, there's quite a lot of work involved in this, and there's a lot of plans and projects in this environmental plan. So hopefully the community will have a look at it and maybe not come up with anything else, because there is a lot in this plan. Whether we achieve that in the next couple of years, I don't think, but it is planned for the future, and we're looking at environmental sustainability, and it's a very big topic, very big subject, and a very big world we live in. So hopefully we'll be able to change our little bit in the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right of reply, Councillor Wright.
No, thanks.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. 4.12 is the bit that goes with the earlier one about the lots in Lee Street and River Street. The draft planning proposal aiming to amend Cowra Local Environmental Plan 2012 by reclassifying Lot 1 DP 1201417 and Lot 10 DP 11072219 from community land to operational status. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. As you said, in the title of this proposal, it relates back to item 4.7. So this is to enable council to to put a proposal together to reclassify. Far out. I can speak English. Reclassify land from community to operational, and once that's done, submit that to Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure for determination. So this is to enable the action that we've already supported at item 4.7. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? Right a reply, Councillor Horton.
No, not required. Thanks.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Show of hands for this one, please. Passed. Thank you very much. 4.13, seeking endorsement for the final sections 7.11 and 7.12 for 2026 contribution plans. Councillor Watt. Councillor Downing. Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This has been on public exhibition and no public submissions were received. We've made a small change, but an important one, to change a bit of a strange system that has been existing for a while, where you had to submit an application by the end of January the year after you've submitted it, some strange timeline. It's now that you can submit an application for partial or full refund within 12 months of the payment of the levy. which probably won't come up very often, but when it did, it was complicated. So that's why we've made this change here. But obviously a very important piece here, our contributions plan covers when large developments happen, a fee that developers and people need to pay to help support the building of infrastructure such as roads and gutters and playgrounds and all of the things to support significant developments in our community being able to flourish. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Downing.
Not necessary.
Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Watt. Put the motion, all those in favour? Those against? It's another hand show, I'm sorry. Yep, passed, thank you. 4.12, development application number 102026.37.1, lot 4 DP 1135952, being 2 Amy Street, Cowra, for 2 dwellings and a 2-lot subdivision lodged by N. Agili Yoshanahari, and the property owner is R. Dagna. Can I have a mover that we pass this DA?
I'll move that we reject this DA.
Councillor Fagan.
Is Councillor Fagan seconding my rejection? No, I don't think she is.
I will second that.
I think I
Sorry.
put mine first, so
You want to move
I want to move that we reject this development application.
Okay.
So I think you need to see if I have a seconder
Where
first.
do I stand here, Councillor Fagan? I've called you first.
Well, no, Councillor Fagan, I put forward a motion that we...
I called Councillor Fagan first as a mover of the motion.
I'm pretty sure you were looking me in the eye when I was speaking, but I'm happy for that to go ahead.
I'll move the motion, the recommendation as it is in the papers.
I will second that. Councillor Fagan.
This is as you have mentioned, this is a 2-lot subdivision in in Amy Street, which is a small street in our community. It is it's largely compliant. It has justified it's been justified as having changing, and it complies with section 415. It was publicly notified with one submission received, and that has been dealt with. It has a slight setback change at the rear boundary, and it is actually and subject to a large number of conditions. I feel that this has been well received and well submitted, and also well assessed, and I'm comfortable with the fact that it would go ahead. We need we need more housing. We need more of this type of housing, which is small units in accessible places, and I think this is it could go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Fagan. I think it's in keeping with the other developments in this area. Admittedly, they're small homes. They're on a block, and there is a retaining wall too close to the boundary. I don't think that's excessive, but I believe there is a need for this sort of housing, particularly in areas that are reasonably close to the CBD, and I'll support it. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As would be known, I'm going to vote against this development application, and I would disagree with the mover and seconder in their articulation that this is the development of small units. This DA is proposing that 2 4-bedroom houses to be built on a single lot. I would absolutely agree with the mover and seconder that the ability to have small density housing for people who are downsizing is a very valid one, and one that we would like to encourage in our community, but that isn't what's before us today. I would also disagree that they're asking for small concessions. Dwelling 1 has a reduction in the setback of 3 metres at the front, 2.5 metres to the side, and 1.7 metres at the rear. The dwelling 2 has a front setback reduction of 1 metre and a rear setback reduction of 3 metres. I often say, there's always an allocation and variation in different blocks, particularly corner blocks. But when you come forward and ask for a setback reduction on every boundary, that isn't some small changes for an in between. That's trying to build a bigger house than the lot is capable of having. This also has significant reductions in the amenity of the outdoor space, which, as was previously discussed, if this was a small dwelling with 1 or 2 bedrooms for a downsizer, perhaps someone older, that wouldn't be as significant. But the likelihood is that in a 4-bedroom house, it is likely to be a family, or it is likely to be 3 to 4 individuals, perhaps more, living together in a share house, which comes with more cars, more space, more things. We know that Binney Lane is quite small, and it will feel even smaller with the front setback and side setback being reduced. The houses on the North Street that back onto these spaces do have are compliant with background requirements, rear setback requirements, but they will not match that if this DA is approved. The building next to it will become quite close and reduce the amenity of those houses. I'd also disagree with the articulation in the application that there's no houses nearby that they can align themselves to determine what that setback is, because while there isn't front setbacks that are compliant, being a corner block, and we do have provision for this in our DCP, there are houses around that can be used to see the setback. And the element we always look for in these things is not do all the front setbacks align, but do all the setbacks off the road look like a consistent character. So, it's always very difficult in voting against a DA, but for me, it's always about the setting of the standard for our community and the amenity for our community. And this doesn't fit our conversations that we've had through the housing strategy of density for increased living for people who aren't looking for that space. This is setting 2 quite significant houses on a block that should only be able to fit 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Watt, because you've taken out half of my notes here. Look, I'm not in the habit of voting against what staff have or disagreeing with what the staff have recommended. I regard their insight and their knowledge, their skills quite highly. So it takes a lot for me to actually consider something differently. And I have been in flux over the last fortnight, actually even before it came, when it was at the general meeting, where I wasn't quite sure, because, as we've stipulated, we do want extra housing. There's absolutely no doubt about that. What I considered was, like, we do have a DCP. The DCP actually goes out to the public. The public determine that, yes, this is something that we want to see Cowra to look like. It's what we want our character to be based on. And yes, of course, there are going to be circumstances where it can't comply with the DCP. We've put some through where garage is on the wrong side, but it's actually because the house is facing a different avenue. There are reasons for DCPs to be varied quite reasonably, and also minor adjustments where it's not going to make a lot of difference. I do agree with Councillor Watt. I have looked through these numbers. They are, for the most part, quite significant variations. 5 metres down to under 2 metres. That's not minor. I do agree with the boundary, the retaining wall. Yes, it's only small. I would have no problem with putting that on the actual boundary. I don't have an issue with that. But it's then the distance between the property and the actual boundary that I have an issue with. I also disagree with the fact that, it's talking about Binney Lane not having much traffic, but if you're actually going to be putting a 4-bedroom house there, it will have a lot of traffic on it, and it's still just a tiny lane. And it's different to have a little cottage, a quaint little cottage, or a little 2-bedroom house facing that lane, but to have a 4-bedroom house that virtually takes up the whole side of that and have that coming too forward, that's then going to create quite a block visually on that, as opposed to, and goodness knows I do apologise to the neighbours, because I sat out there quite a bit and I drove around those streets, and I'm sure they must have thought someone was lurking, but I really did need to be able to put it in perspective myself. Look, the other thing that I tried to consider is, why are they actually wanting these 4-bedroom houses? Is it because of key worker accommodation? But then I thought, well, no, that's a 4-bedroom house. I wouldn't see too many key workers all lumping in on one 4-bedroom house, and if it does, we're going to have an awful lot more traffic over there. And the car parking spaces simply won't. If you had 2 people in each bedroom, then you're going to end up short 12 car parking spaces if they've all got a car. You know, the logistics of that just didn't work. And if you wanted to have young families, as you would generally think of being a 4-bedroom house, then there's no room for the kids. We've said that in our DCP. We want kids to have a little bit of space. That's just simply not fair. I really couldn't see any reason for this other than the land size is not congruent with what they're trying to put on there. The houses look great, the land looks great, they're not congruent. So, look, I thank my councillors for indulging me, but I felt that I needed to explain my reasoning behind it. I hate to think that we're knocking back housing, but I think that we need to do it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else comment? Councillor Downing.
Thank you to the 2 councillors who've already spoken against this. I'll be voting against it again and changing my vote from the committee meeting after driving around the neighbourhood as well. Sorry. I just think that the variations are too extreme. You're going to fit it into a street, a small street and a lane. I just think it's over the top. Our council's DCP guidelines are important because it reflects what council's strategic planning objectives are, and I don't think this meets it, and that's why I'm voting against it.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, the only comment I'll make is that everyone else has put forward their case. But if we do approve this, which I don't want to approve it, and we allow the changes to the allowances in the DCP rules, it's not just this house that it's affecting. It gives precedent for other people to push the boundaries on other developments in town. And that's my biggest concern, is creating a precedent. We've got a DCP there for a reason, and we have, as has been stated several times, like, oh, it's the DCP, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't fit, the council can change it. Well, sometimes we've approved the DCP. We've got to back up what we approved, and leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right, a reply, Councillor Fagan.
Yes, look, this is something that I wasn't in the room for the last discussion, but we cannot second guess who is going to live in these houses. It's what we approve. Our DCP is set, admittedly. The department or our planners and our qualified people have assessed this against our DCP, and they believe that it complies with some variations. We have to go with that. I think we have to go with that. We can't choose who lives in these houses. Families all over the world live in a lot worse conditions than this, and also families live in units. Even in Cowra, they live in units with 2 or 3 bedrooms. So and they don't have any outside areas. So I think wanting everybody to go with the same standards that we hold. We all live in comfortable homes with lots of room. I think that's terrific. We're very lucky, but there are a lot of families out there who don't have that advantage. And I think this type of house may just be a married couple who wants another bedroom for their grandchildren, or just wants 4 bedrooms. So we can't second guess that, and I don't think we can make a decision based on any of those things. I think it has been assessed. It is, staff has agreed to recommend it to us, and I think we should go with that. So I'm comfortable in voting for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. This is a show of hands, people. All those in favour? All those against? I declare that the motion is not carried. I will now take a motion to refuse the DA, and with the reasons articulated as to why. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I put forward a motion that we reject this DA as it is inconsistent with the, sorry, I'm just trying to find the wording, but I'm sure you can enter it in. It is inconsistent with the setback controls as listed in the document.
have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Watt?
I think it's already articulated. As was noted, we set our DCP and we did just adopt our DCP that had the articulation of each of these setbacks. This council endorsed that fully in everyone involved, and I believe that we've decided to uphold those setbacks in this situation.
Councillor Kiss?
Not necessary, thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Watt?
Not required, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Again, this will be a show of hands. Those against? I declare that motion passed. Thank you all. 4.15, Councillor information request of the General Committee meeting on Tuesday the 9th of June 2026. Councillor Fagan. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Fagan.
It's this is just housekeeping, so I don't need to discuss it. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? Again, it is housekeeping. Right, a reply, Councillor Fagan.
Not necessary.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Passed. Thank you. 5.1, the draft delivery program of 2025 to 2026 right through to 2028-29 and the operational plan of 2026-2027, the draft long-term financial plan 2026 to 2027 right through to 2035 and 2036, the draft revenue policy of 2026-2027. Councillor Watt. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thanks. Could I please move this with an additional line to amend B3.1.J to replace shop fronts with shop tops? To amend objective B.3.1.J, which is in reference to the investigation of a scheme to support shop owners with painting what is meant to be their shop tops, so the bit above the awning, but it's incorrectly in here as shop fronts, which would be below the awning or the facade.
Could we change it to buildings?
Sure. I think shop tops is the technical term, and it is the term that was in the CBD activation plan, but...
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I've never heard the term before, shop top. I've heard chop top.
It's a weird one, but it is the term that was in the activation plan, and I think it was actually the term that was in the motion that we put forward in the last
Councillor Kiss, you happy with that amendment?
Yeah, it makes it feel like a chocolate ice cream for some reason, though, but yes, very happy to.
Shop front, shop top is hard to say.
Okay. Councillor Watt, do you want to expound on your...
Yes, thank you. In regards to that change, that's just, I think, because we might not have provided it correctly in writing before it missed in translation, so apologies for not picking that one up earlier. In relation to the broader motion, the IPNR documents that we've got in front of you today are a significant piece of work that we do each year between the staff and councillors to set out both our plan for the year ahead, but also our long-term financial management, which is a very important element when we're dealing with all of the giant pieces of infrastructure that we are. Some key developments in the year ahead that I'm very proud of to see here, the continuation of our work towards FOGO processing and bins now that we've conducted our annual bin audit and our first annual bin audit and put together the plan as discussed earlier. A change in the positioning around the Macquarie Street redevelopment. For some years we've had the development of a master plan for Lower Macquarie Street as an item that we would go through with if we received grant funding. However, it's very rare to receive grant funding to develop a master plan. And you need a master plan to get a grant. So it's a bit chicken and egg, and we've decided to make the switch to develop the master plan ourselves so that we can start moving forward on this. This was something that's been on Council's agenda for a while, reinforced by the CBD activation plan development, and I think it's a really significant effort to reinvigorate a key part of our CBD that is kind of lacking in amenity at the moment and lacking in space for people to enjoy. Councillor Smith and I, along with the CBD committee, went to Forbes last weekend for our excursion, well, previous weekend for our excursion, and saw a space where they've actually reinvigorated a very similar area. And I think it's something that really could both bring new businesses into that space, but also create more space for our community. So that's a really great step forward in this plan, as well as the decision to engage specialists to develop our play strategy, primarily to review our current playgrounds and the network of those, and do quite significant community consultation, particularly considering shade, safety and accessibility, which is really important to kind of bring our playgrounds into the 21st century. As was noted in our community satisfaction survey, more than half of our community have visited a playground in the last year, which shows that they're not just a place for parents and their kids, they're definitely a place that all generations are attending for various things like parties and taking their grandkids and all sorts of things like that. It's really become quite a significant part of our community, and I also think it's quite an Australian way. It's really interesting when people who aren't from Australia come to a playground and go, what do you mean there's just a barbecue in every park that you can use by yourself without a key? But I think they are a really core part of our community, but they're also something that can really have an impact on the likelihood of young families to move and stay in a town, and it's something that's really developed over the last probably 20 years as a place that's more than just the slide and the swing, but something that can really build connection, reduce barriers of people with different abilities. And it is also so important now with a, increased attachment to screens, to encourage play outside, to encourage active play and health, as well as community connection. We've also made an amendment to our long-term financial plan in terms of playgrounds to attach CPI to the playground asset fund for that, and which is something we haven't had before, which has probably contributed to our decreased state of the playgrounds. So kicking off with that initial increase in budget and putting together this play strategy, I think is a really important step forward to improving the quality of these facilities for our community. Just a couple more, there's so many, you could sit here forever and talk about them all. But we have in this plan a commitment to implement an online method for constituents to lodge requests and complaints that integrates with the request management system we're legally required to have here. So our team are going to look at different options available to make the most consistent way of doing that. I think it's so useful to have people, as they notice something that's wrong or they identify a potential improvement, to be able to send that through. We know there's not a lot of likelihood in people calling up, but also for myself, when I go to the playgrounds or when I walk the main street, it's on the weekend when you can't call through, and many people would be in the same situation. And there's systems like Snaps and Solve now that literally give council the location and a picture of what's wrong, which can be really useful in being more efficient with our time. There's quite a list of things here from the CBD committee and activation plan. As mentioned, investigating schemes for encouraging builders to paint the shop tops above the awning to kind of give a bit more livelihood and maintenance. This is based on a program that happened around 30 years ago. So we're going to investigate the feasibility of doing that again, as well as investigating public art murals in the CBD, options to improve the marking of car spaces, feasibility of notice boards, and quite a few things in that space. So I think there's a lot to look forward to in the activation of the CBD space, as well as the development of a 3-year strategic plan for Cowra Civic Centre and redeveloping the website to improve the user experience. So these are just the things that highlight for me, and I think such a great show of the work both that goes into developing this plan, but also the amount of work that our directors here and all of their teams do every year to improve things for our community. Importantly, in terms of our financial position, it's important to note for those looking at this report that the long-term financial plan includes the planned expenditure and co-funding works on our water treatment plant starting in 2031, which we are currently investigating whether there are different options for progressing that. So this is something that might change significantly over the next year in terms of our allocation here. As has been noted before, there's some improved technology as well as use over the past probably, I don't know, 30 years that's made it that we could potentially push this backwards, and considering how significant a cost it is, that's something we've definitely got our eye on as council. We've talked about before that the end of financial year for this current year looks slightly different to what was initially planned due to our efforts to renegotiate loans. So it looks like a negative now because we paid some break fees, but long term there is significant benefits in terms of the repayments that we've got there, as well as I think importantly, two final things, that we've made some changes in our assumptions around tending towards loan funding for infrastructure works. So these budgets show some direct expenditure on infrastructure, which I think when you do the maths really is of great benefit in reducing those ongoing costs, especially when we do have the reserves in place. But obviously that's something you need to do quite strategically so we don't spend reserves on things that aren't planned or that aren't essential to our community. And importantly, the ratios here show that council continues to be financially sustainable while constrained, as is probably most councillors in the area. And I'm sure our community will hear that we don't anticipate the need for any special rate variation to meet the many projects that we've articulated here. So I think we're very lucky as Cowra Shire Council that we are in such a good position, but in saying that, it's not particularly luck, it's because of quite deliberate financial oversight and prudence over many years that we in this room obviously have that weight to continue, as well as making sure that we're investing in our and developing our community. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Councillor Watt, for your in-depth analysis. Very much appreciated. And look, it really is an exciting document. I would like to actually just take the time to thank Ms. Ewing Jarvie for her submission, speaking about the inclusion of initiative to support school-based apprenticeships and trainees, otherwise known as SBATs, in health areas, for council to try to champion those sorts of initiatives. And I know that these things aren't necessarily directly within council's remit, but we certainly do have the ability to create some sort of a ripple out there towards the school and say, have you considered, which is going to be incredibly important for our future in health in Cowra. Look, I'm just looking through my notes here, and Councillor Watt's covered quite a lot of them. I would like to say that there has been definitely a focus on accessibility, which I'm really pleased with, not just in a single phase, but throughout the document, certainly a lot more of that too. And look, I would like to acknowledge right now that as much as this document's meant to be pragmatic, you know, it's an operational thing, we're meant to say it's going to be done within the 12 months, I am fully aware and quite comfortable with the fact that not everything will be achievable. I'm very much aware of that. It, in a lot of ways, it will be aspirational, but to me aspirational means that we're going to set the goals, we're going to be working towards them, but we've actually acknowledged that these are important, and if it isn't achieved right now, it's still going to have the potential to be achieved in the future, rather than simply not being included in there at all and then risk the community saying, well, didn't you think it was important? Fact is, we do think it's important, but we just simply may not have the resources to ensure that everything is done, completed, ticked off by the end of the year. So I'm very mindful of that, and I'm grateful for the work that the staff do towards achieving all of these goals. I know their heart's in it, they're committed to it, dedicated, and I'm fully aware of that, and if it isn't done by the end of it, that's quite okay. But I know that their heart's in it and doing whatever they can. Look at, and I think, taking note of what Councillor Watt mentioned, the General Manager's comments on page 66, that these numbers indicate that Council will remain financially constrained, but is still able to operate in a financially sustainable manner over the projected 10-year term of the financial plan without needing a special rate variation. I think that's a huge point to be taken to say that not only we're in a good place, but we're headed in the right direction, that this has been financially managed and governed extremely well, and I think our staff should be very proud of what they've managed to achieve in the past and what they're looking to achieve in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Watt.
Not required, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 5.2, Code of Conduct Reforms. Councillor Fagan. Councillor Speechley. Thank you, Councillor Fagan.
Right, this is something that the state government has brought out, and although they've reneged on the last code of conduct for code of meeting, we hope they don't renege on this one. So this has been going on for quite some time, and the local state government has come up with a proposed consultation to conduct reforms into the New South Wales Council's Code of Conduct framework, and it's outlined the key changes likely to affect councillors and councillors. Luckily, this has not had a great impact on Cowra in the past, and hopefully it won't have a great impact in Cowra in the future. But we are required to look at this, think that what is actually going to happen, and if we are needed to, we can put in a submission to the General Manager by the 17th of July and have our views heard with the Local Government New South Wales, our Local Government Office of Local Government. But it is, there are some good things in this. I feel that it's taking the complaints out of the hands of the General Manager and councillors and per se, and it goes to the Office of Local Government, and I think that's a really good move, and it's been on the cards for a long time, and one of the movements that Local Government New South Wales has been trying to get across for some time. So I think it's a good thing that it'll be centralised at the Office of Local Government. Trivial inappropriate complaints will be dismissed early rather than waiting for months. If there is a serious complaint, it'll be dealt with by a privileges committee, and it looks like it's going to be a quick way of dealing with complaints. You hear too often, and it really does, it's very detrimental to local government in New South Wales, the complaints and carry on that we hear about in other councils across the state. And I think by perhaps these changes will make it much quicker, much more efficient, and hopefully that a lot of them won't end up in court for days and months ahead, which has been happening in the past, and it does bring down the integrity of local government across New South Wales. So I'm supporting this and hoping. I can't see anything that I need to comment on, but I think this is a really good way to go, and I'm encouraging everyone to vote for this. And if you do want to have a say, then 17th July, get back to the General Manager. But looking at this, I think it's actually a really good move, and I'm supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Speechley.
Thank you, Councillor Fagan. You left me nothing to say except for to concur that I agree. I think that the proposed changes are going to make local councils more effective and hopefully will result in less cases in court. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, it's often said that local government's a child of the state government, and here's our mother laying down the rules on how its children will behave. Most councillors behave in a very good way and respect each other. And if there are people, I can speak from experience that I sometimes push the boundary. But I'm only finding out how far I can go before the mayor pulls me into line. But it's sometimes a lot of these rules can dumb the system down, and sometimes we need to show a bit of vigour in prosecuting a case to get something done, either locally or, but more so when we go to visit our mother and we want more money or something else fixed up, or for them to be a bit more lenient and don't say, well, you'll get it when I die, because they're not going to die. And there's a very fine line, it is, but I still think we need to have a set of rules to abide by, and so other people can call out when we're right or wrong. And it's quite obvious. I did suggest to them once that the template should be the question time in federal parliament, and we all wouldn't have to answer any challenges then. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Downing?
Just a question. Do we know if this will come with additional costs for council? There's no mention of costs.
Mr. Chairman, I have to get back to you on the detail. There is talk of the costs in the discussion papers, and my understanding is that it will, the cost that a complaint incurs will be passed back to the council in some way, shape or form. But I'll review it in more detail and give you advice on that.
Yeah, I did read a vague bit about money or something in here. I have no problem with this. I think it's they're aiming for fairness and transparency, and I don't think that will be an issue. Let's hope nothing goes to the Land and Environment Court. Is that where it's supposed to go to? Because they've got delays of 3 to 9 months. So let's hope no one goes there, because it won't be fast then anyway.
Any other comments before I go to Councillor Fagan? I'd just like to say in the 19 months that I've been mayor, I'd just like to compliment all the councillors on their behaviour, respect they've shown to one another, and hopefully it stays that way. And I could concur with Councillor Fagan that this hasn't troubled us too much in the past, and let's hope it doesn't trouble us too much in the future. So, Councillor Fagan, right of reply?
Yes, there is 172 councils in New South Wales and more than 1,500 councillors. So the perception, unfortunately, is often in the media is that local government is broke and everyone's mad. That's not the case. There are a few people who are, don't agree with everyone else and are difficult, and they become the centre of attention. So I'm really confident that this is actually going to help a lot with that. I do think that council having to deal with their own complaints is not a good look, and any HR department would say it needs to be taken out of that system. So I think that was a mistake in the beginning. We should never have had to deal with it. We do have a cost at the moment. I think, Mr. General Manager, when we have a complaint, we do have some costs involved, don't we? I think, if it's important. So I think there is a cost anyway, so hopefully we won't be racking up too many of those costs, and I think this is a really a good way to go, and I'm comfortable, very happy that we're able to adopt this change, and hopefully the Office of Local Government and the government won't overturn it after it's adopted. So thank you.
Councillor Speechley, did you speak as a seconder? Oh, very good. Anyone else wish to comment? That was the right of reply. I just looked over there and I thought, gee, I'm not sure about it. Okay. I can't believe I didn't remember it. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. Sorry, Cheryl. I don't know where I was going. Okay, 6.1, the Investments and Financial Report. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quite a sound report, as always, very pleasing to see. I would like to in particular congratulate our staff for chasing up the rate collections, the overdue ones. And if I'm right, perhaps through the chair, we've now reached under the benchmark, which is 10% outstanding for the end of the financial year. Would that be correct? page 367. Sorry, should have
Yeah,
put this on to
thank
you.
Just give me a moment.
If I can just speak to that while the director's looking at this as well. Okay, I understand that sometimes it's hard for people to be paying their rates. Certainly appreciate that. You know, like life can be tough. But I also think that sometimes rate collection can be put down to the bottom of the list, because it's unlike, you know, if you don't go to your groceries and pay for your groceries, well, then you go hungry. Or if you don't pay for electricity, it gets cut off. People don't pay rates. We can't just stop them from, you know, accessing the footpaths or the parks or anything like that, because it's a public service. But by the same token, council can't operate effectively and to the standards that the community deserves unless the rates are paid. And I think that's something we just need to be mindful of. But, you know, nobody should ever end up not paying their rates. Sometimes it does happen. But if anybody does have trouble, I would seriously recommend that they reach out to the staff and say, look, you know, can I put in a repayment plan, rather than continue to put it off, because council does listen. You know, we want to make sure that things can be paid, but also don't want to place people in extreme hardship. And unfortunately, if it builds up, that's what can happen. So anyway, at that, I will leave it over to the director to respond now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton. Director, have you got a reply?
I do, Mr Mayor, yes.
Please present it to the council.
Through the chair, yes, we have dropped below 10%, and that at this time of year is superior to performance in the past 4 years. So I'd really like to call out the work of the rates clerk and the finance team in general for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just briefly, yes, thanks to staff for the work they do, but this also links back, of course, to the community satisfaction survey. I think if we need to make sure we continually close the loop and are seen to be not only doing, but seen to be doing what our constituents want us to do. That'll help us in terms of collecting rates if they feel like we're connected and listening and responsive to what it is they want us to do. Again, grateful to the staff involved in the preparation of the report. We've mentioned about rates, they're in solid shape there, as are our investments and what have you. So grateful to the staff for the work that goes into preparing the report, and thankful to ratepayers for getting on and doing your bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Watt.
Thank you. Sorry, I felt like I'm about to sneeze. And I sneeze very loudly, so you don't want it in the mic. Absolutely agree with the previous two speakers that it's fantastic to see that rate collection going down. It really does, you know, enable us to do what we do, and it's important that we all play on that fair playing ground. But I think it's really important we highlight, as Councillor Kiss shared, there is capacity to manage that if you aren't able to afford it, or if you have challenges. Council's always open to those conversations about ways to support you in doing it. I just wanted to raise again concerns about the average interest rate for council investments being generally below market rates. They're currently at 4.7 on average, and with the majority of our investments either falling between 100 to 185 days or 185 to 365 days, we're below all of those averages in those periods for our investments. And considering that in our current year, we're anticipating to raise $1.7 million in investment from interest rates, it's an important part of our budget going forward. And I guess to raise the question to the director if he has any plans to try and bring our rates closer to market averages.
Through the chair, thanks for pointing that out. I would say that the average rate of return is lagged compared to current rates. So you will find that over time we will catch that up. However, if there are future movements in available rates, of course, the body of the portfolio will again take time to either catch that up, or indeed, if circumstances reverse, dip back down to what available rates are. If that answers your question.
Thanks. Look, it does. In for quite some time in all my memories, council, we have been ahead of the game in our interest rates. And I think this is the fourth or fifth meeting that I've raised this concern. So it's concerning to me that it is continuing and exacerbating as a problem, particularly if we're saying it's going to take some months potentially to come back around when less than 2% of our investments that we have now are less than 100 days. So the capacity for us to get high interest is limited because we're in all of those investments for the longest period of time we take on. So I guess just, that's disappointing to me that there's not, that's the situation that we're in, and perhaps worth reviewing what we've done in the last kind of year to be trending this way when we've consistently been trending in a really positive frame.
Must remember that a lot of these financial figures are done on a given day, and to say that we were behind on what the interest rate we're getting on our investments against the average is a little bit harsh, because those investments would have been done at the best possible rate on the day they were invested. And so if the market does go up, it will make them not quite as good. But you've had to make the decision at the time. And it's also been stated that we're not flush with funds. We've got a lot of money invested there, but we need it various sums throughout the year, and we just can't lock it away at a higher price for 1 or 2 years for a lot of that money. We need it so it's ready at hand for when we need to spend it. And and as far as borrowing goes, I can't follow that one, but we're behind there, so we're paying more than what the average is. Well, I haven't looked at it but that closely, but we were getting 2% of T-Corp when we did a couple of loans, probably just before the pandemic or during it. And I see there in the long-term financial plan, we've been informed that T-Corp's now on 6.15, and it's what, 4.75 the cash rate is. So the government wanting to pick up nearly 1.5% on that money. So they're wanting to be a banker, so they're not trying to help us. So I think we can be a little bit too critical at times on what we're doing. Admittedly, we've paid some money down. We paid the break fee, and we're still going to save $20,000 over the period of time, or was it $40,000? But we've also taken 700,000 or 800,000 out of the circulation to do that, and so we have less money free at hand to operate under. So, but as I'm quite confident, I will be. What I've said is wrong, but it is, all these figures are just on a Pacific day, and we need to take care.
Right of reply, Councillor Kiss. Yeah, that one's working.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Pass. Thank you. Yeah. It might look better looking at Paul rather than me. Yeah, it's looking at me. Why is it looking at me? As the kids say. 6.2, donation request, Goolagong Log Cabin Hall, 2025 Esky Ball. Councillor Horton. Councillor Watt, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Yeah, very briefly, I think this is a really modest request to support this event. So, yeah, no issue, happy to support. Thank you.
Councillor Watt?
Thank you. Agree with Councillor Horton. It's a fantastic event. I attended on the weekend, and it's great to see. I think, you know, so often in agricultural communities, it's so important to create those opportunities for people to come together, to connect and have a good time, for community morale, as well as the event quite clearly is about fundraising for the community groups there to be able to continue to support. And anyone who's spent time in Goolagong recently would see how involved their Progress Association and the Log Cabin are in putting on events for their community, making sure that their space that their community is in spending time in is a really good one, as well as advocating for things like childcare positions and their school. So I think it's a really good opportunity. As Councillor Horton said, it's pretty modest, and thank you very much to a number of great community members and businesses around town that have also contributed to the cause. It's great to see so many people coming behind and creating an opportunity. It was bloody cold, but I think that makes the point even more, right, because we know when those kind of weather, people don't come out and they don't connect with other people. So having that space is really important. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? Councillor Kiss?
Look, I really can't add to this, but I just feel that it's important to congratulate the workers of Goolagong, not only the log cabin, not only the esky ball, but as has been mentioned, they come together. This is a village that does things for itself. You know, I don't mind helping anybody, but I tell you what, if they can get in there and have some skin in the game and do stuff for themselves, I'm absolutely on board with them. Yeah, congratulations. They've done a fabulous job.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right, a reply, Councillor Horton.
As articulated by Councillor Wright earlier, no one's disagreed. There's none to argue with, so no, nothing to say. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Pass. Thank you. Item 6.3, donation request, Holmwood Public School for the school swim and safety program. Can I have, now the recommendation is that be declined. Can I have a mover? Councillor Fagan, thank you. And Councillor Kiss. Thank you, Councillor Fagan.
This is a hard one, and I think we all feel for this little school. I would like a few questions answered if I could. It doesn't actually say that the reason they're asking for money is because they have to go to Canowindra because our pool is closed. Is that the reason they're going? Do we think that's the reason they're going to Canowindra?
Through the chair, these questions, or this question and a couple of others, were asked by Councillor Watt earlier today, but were unable to make the papers. To answer the question, yes, the request is because Cowra pool will be closed, and they want to provide this this course at Canowindra pool. I do have a couple of other points in answer. Would you like?
That'd be great. Thank you.
The cost that they've sought, which is $3,275, is inclusive of the amount that they would normally budget to transport students to Cowra pool. That usual amount is $1,125. This will affect 29 students, and there will be teaching staff, of course, who will be travelling with them.
Thank you. And can I ask for another question, if I could, from the Director of Operations? When we discussed closing the pool for the time we're revamping it, we had a discussion with some members of the public who use the pool about what they would do once the pool was closed. Did we come to any sort of resolution or any suggestion that we would fund people or, you know, help people to go, like schools and things, to go for these to Canowindra and Blaney and other places, or Young or anywhere else?
Through the chair, what we, my recollection is what we all arranged with Transport New South Wales was a funding program for a bus to take people like the Stingrays, etc., on regular trips to Grenfell Pool. But at the end of the day, that the users didn't want that bus, but there was. I'd have to take it on notice and get on the TFNSW to see if there's an opportunity for one-off programs, but that was for like a whole summer of bus transport.
Right, okay. So this is probably something we should have talked about or considered prior to us, well, we've got time now to do it, but with the pool closure, we are going to become, I think, if we don't reject this, we're going to be inundated with people wanting help to go to other pools for summer. I'm rejecting this because I think this is setting a precedent, and I don't think we should do this particular thing, although I feel for this school and I feel for the fact that they have to travel quite a distance this year to do their learn to swim, and in other years they've been able to use our pool. So my suggestion is that we reject this, but we do ask for some sort of, we have a discussion, I'm not sure, a report or a discussion about if there is any possibility. I know it's not in the budget, we haven't budgeted, we just passed the budget, but we have some possibility of helping some organisations or find some grants or something that we can actually look at supporting people attending pools in other areas. So I'll move this motion plus a second dot if I could. Have I got a seconder? Yeah, just to say that we should investigate options for transport subsidies for pool users, local pool users to travel to other schools, other pools.
Before we go any further, I'll get the gentleman. I know the MIPS squad knocked back a bus.
Yeah.
And we did approach the schools once we knew.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just clarifying Director's comments. We have put in an so we did met with the swimming club and the MIPS. As the Mayor's indicated, the MIPS decided that they weren't interested in trying to get access to any other pool during the coming season, and the swimming club were. We've put in a grant application with Transport for New South Wales, just over $50,000 for 2 times a week for the swimming club to Grenfell Pool, Mondays and Thursdays, and for general community on Sundays. So those applications are in at the moment. And that schools are ineligible under that program because it's a government expense.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the information. In that case, I just move this recommendation that we don't support this, and maybe we can have a further conversation about how we maybe even go to the Department of Education. We might have to talk to some other people about how we can support schools attending Learn to Swim or similar things at other pools. But it is a discussion, so I'll drop the dot point. We'll just say we're not supporting this at this time, and I'm reluctant to do that because I think learning to swim is the most important thing in anyone's life. You can read and write, but if you can't swim, you're dead. So, it's very important, and I think that we would like to see this happen, but unfortunately we're getting a new pool and it's not something that we can cater for everybody at this stage. So I'm reluctantly moving this, but I do believe we could look into some, maybe some education grants or something that we can find some funding, even if it's only a minimal amount for petrol or something that it might help out. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Kiss, are you happy with Councillor Fagan's?
No.
No, look, I've got 2 or 3. Can you turn yours off, please, Councillor?
I've removed the second dot point.
Okay.
So I'm only moving this motion, and we may have a discussion later on about how we can help later on. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I have exactly the same reluctance as Councillor Fagan has expressed, and I'm sure, well, I can't speak on behalf of the other councillors, but let's face it, no one put their hand up in a hurry. It is difficult. It is really awkward. You know, we want to see our young people learn to swim. I even went as far as looking at, you know, what the Department of Education obligations are, and it turns out that yes, they actually have to teach water safety, but it doesn't specify that it has to be swimming lessons. So I can see the difficulties that the school could potentially be having, where they say, well, no, we don't need to supply the money or the transport to go to the pool because it's not actually part of the curriculum. We can do it on dry land. How that happens, I'm really not sure, but apparently it can be done, and that is the minimum standard. So I think they're up against it to begin with, but as was mentioned, this doesn't only occur to Homewood, there will be other schools that are impacted as well. Look, I actually had gone then a bit outside the square as well and started thinking maybe there are community groups that can actually be helping to contribute, again, out of our jurisdiction. But I mean, I've even written in my notes here, you know, if they're having pie drives or bake sales, I'm happy to put my hand up. I'm happy to make cakes, you know, like on a personal level, I really feel conflicted with this. So anything that I can do, but again, it's not something that council can do because it's simply not within council's remit. They don't meet the eligibility criteria for it. With great reluctance, I have seconded this motion to not approve, and I do hope there are some other ways, thinking outside the square, that we can not only potentially help Homewood, but any other schools that may end up coming forward too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Absolutely agree. Swimming is an essential life skill, particularly in a country like Australia with significant rates of drowning, what have you. So, you know, we like to access the outdoors. We like to access our waterways. So it's really important that that kids learn to swim. So it really irks me that we're in this situation. I'm grateful to the staff for the work that you've already done in seeking out opportunities to source funding to get groups to and from other schools. We need to renew the asset, our local pool. That has to happen. But this is it's really a bitter pill to swallow, this one. Because this really is where the rubber hits the road in terms of cost shifting. You know, cost shifting is not an academic exercise. You've got 29 kids here who are going to potentially miss out on some really important. It's not that they won't ever get swimming lessons, but it'll be interrupted unnecessarily. So again, like others, yes, unhappily having to support this recommendation. I don't think we have a choice, frankly. We open this door. It's going to be very hard to close. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Downing.
Yes, obviously reluctantly I'll support this as well because it's just outside our guidelines. They're clear that if it is a mandatory school curriculum, then it's not covered in our donations policy. What I would like to mention again, and I think I mentioned this in the public school when we talked about Cowra Public School asking for similar funding, was that it says here that it appears that Homewood Public School has not itself allocated funding for a program it has identified. I want that taken out, please, because there is no way they could have identified that they would need to allocate the funds for our pool being closed. And that's what the excess cost is for them to be bused to another place. So I think that's a comment on their budgeting, and I just don't think that that's acceptable, to be honest. It's not, I don't think that's right.
Councillor Watt.
I'd absolutely support Councillor Downing in that schools operate on a calendar year budget, not a financial year budget. So when they got this information, the budget was already developed and has, as has been reported, it's about a $2,000 increase in what they had planned to spend on this. You know, it's not like they have a great capacity to do it without fundraising. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? just like to say before I go to write a reply to Councillor Fagan, I just query whether Woodstock Pool would be a substitute. It's not that far away from Holmwood, and they have a pool, so just something to think about. Write a reply, Councillor Fagan.
That's an excellent suggestion. Maybe we should write to them and suggest that they go to Woodstock Pool. Yeah, as I said, we reluctantly adopt this recommendation to not fund this Holmwood Place because it is a Department of Holmwood's public school, because it is a Department of Education school, and unfortunately we cannot, it doesn't meet our guidelines.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Passed. Thank you. I don't know which. I've got more buttons here than I can poke a stick at. 6.4, release of closed decisions. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Fagan, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is just housekeeping. This is advising that certain times council releases resolutions of previous confidential meetings. These ones incorporated decisions made from the 25th of August 2025 right through to 25th of May 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Fagan.
Just to say that these are mainly requests for tenders, and a lot of that is confidential information, so it isn't appropriate that it be released until the tenders have been let. So that's why we have these confidential matters and discuss them without not being in the public eye. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I've hit the wrong button. I got there. So, anyone else wish to comment? I'm writing one and holding one here. I'll write a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass, thank you. 6.5 is a boundary adjustment, LGA boundary adjustment. I'll move this, if you'd second it, Councillor Kiss. I'm fully aware of this. I've had a few phone calls from the Smiths out there at Reeds Flat Road, next door to the quarry, and they have a little parcel of ground. There's a road goes down to the quarry, and there's a little parcel of ground on the other side of the road, and it's a very small parcel, but because of that they get rates from Hilltops as well as Cowra. And of course, once you start getting a rate, you get the base rate. So this little tiny piece of ground attracts a base rate, and so they would like it put back into one or the other, which obviously bring it into Cowra, and so it's basically housekeeping, but it's just an anomaly in where the road went and where the little piece of ground sits. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not to trivialise it, but I actually had to do a bit of a spot the difference to see where this tiny piece of land is. One of these things that you think, how on earth was that even overlooked to begin with, or how did they end up just with such a tiny, tiny snippet of land in the other shire? So look, it just makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Councillor Speechley.
Thanks. Look, I just have a question really. In making the boundary a straight line to straight across, are we not now creating a rate payment from someone who is in Young Council for the line that's going across?
Through the chair, if I understand the question correctly, no, we are not making a change to anyone in Hilltops Council's jurisdiction subject to variation in rate, other than transferring that parcel of land to Cowra, so it only affects that one ratepayer. In terms of how the rates themselves are calculated, there's a set total amount that can be collected from different types of land. So in this case, say farmlands, it might be in the order of, let's say, $2 million a year, and that's across the entire shire. and then when you calculate what each landholder's component of that total amount is, it's a function of the base rate, which is a rate that is paid for each owner's property, and then there is a rate that is calculated on the value of their property, and that then is the remaining proportion of the total amount that's payable from farmland. Sorry if that sounds a bit complicated,
Yeah,
but
I'm not
it is
sure.
a bit.
I'm not sure I'm understanding it. I'm just
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's basically because we're taking a triangle of land which is currently, I imagine, within Young Council, and adding it to Cowra's.
That's correct.
Quite a large chunk. We're actually taking more than we're getting back.
We are taking. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
I need to.
Um,
What we're taking.
So maybe I'll just put it this way. Each year, Hilltops Council is told how much they can raise from rates due to the rate peg. They determine how much of that comes from each different classification of land, but the total amount doesn't change. It's just how it's cut up. So let's say that they decide that they are going to claim $2 million from their total from farmland, okay? Let's say that Cowra also decides that it's going to raise $2 million from farmland. Even though this parcel of land shifts from one to the other, that total amount doesn't change. What will change is some of the calculations around the margin. The base rate, as the Mayor mentioned, would change to a small extent for Hilltops, because that parcel will be taken out, so it would be divided by fewer parcels of land. In our case, the parcels of land would stay the same number, so it's not going to change the base rate because it's coming into the property. It's all owned by the same person. Yep.
Sorry, but we are picking up a parcel of land. We're picking up the parcel of land south of the new boundary, or south of the existing boundary where Mount Collins is.
We are, but it is going to become part of Lot 1 DP 501037. So if you look at the red line, okay, that is now including that small parcel of land in the larger parcel of land that it adjoins. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure, but that's okay.
Sorry, I think I'm overcomplicating it.
The grey area underneath the yellow allotment, let's call it, is currently in Young Council's Shire.
Yes.
So we are taking quite a piece out of Young.
Yes, the amount of land is actually 0.67 acres.
Yeah.
And the value of that piece of land, the land value is $1,400. Sorry.
Sorry, I think, are you talking about, so the straight line, lot 1, and then there's a little triangle?
No,
that's
the
on the line?
triangle, I understand we're taking that back, but it's getting to that triangle, we're doing a straight line, which is cutting through Young.
So if you, on both of those maps, the black line is already our boundary, so we already have that grey area. It's just that it's not part of lot 1.
Oh, okay, sorry, my mistake.
That's okay.
Okay, my mistake, sorry. Thank you for
Councillor
clarifying
Watson.
that, 'cause I'm looking, I'm thinking, okay. Thank you for clarifying for me. Appreciate that. Yeah, okay. It's interesting. Because that's a lot.
Councillor Speechley, are you happy with that explanation?
When I look at the New South Wales planning portal, so the geospatial planning, it shows that lot that we're looking at, I think, as having a different line, but I'll just have to accept that I'm not reading it correctly. It's all good. Thanks.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, comment.
Councillor Wright.
The observation I make, and when you look at those spatial things, I suppose it's Google Map or something, it might show the boundary of the lot, not the boundary of the Shire. And that's because the little triangle bit seems to be already part of the major block, DP, has got the same number, but it's just been dissected by the local government boundary, and so that's what I've got, and there's no road there to be, so he must just use it. It's not country he can't use, it's just got to pay a tax rate to the hilltops and Cowra, and so it hasn't been created by a road going through, and it's just the anomaly of the mapping. I hope I'm on the right track, aren't I?
That's correct, yes.
And the effect of that is that it has the, he has to pay 2 base rates. So a base rate on that little tiny block. Okay. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Does this require a show of hands? No? Okay, pass. Thank you. 7.1, the draft Glen Logan Road Materials Recycling Facility and Landfill Site Master Plan. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Fagan, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Liz is just asking us to receive and note the progress report on the draft Glen Logan Landfill Master Plan. It's incredibly extensive, the amount that goes into these. And then, of course, it stipulates that we have both a keen eye on the short and the long-term needs, costings and the regulations and so forth. Now, I did have an observation to begin with, quite scary actually, that the year 2026, the waste landfill projection was 11,500 tonne. Come to 2056, it's looking to go up to almost 53,000 tonne. So, you know, that's a scary thought to think that potentially could be the increase in waste. So, I mean, one way or another, we have to be able to cater for this. Hopefully, it won't be as much as that if we end up reusing, recycling, and so forth. But anyway, potentially, this is what we're up for. So just through the chair, if I may, to the director, there were some concerns noted in the short-term plan initiatives, in particular to do with risk to public safety with community coming in contact with vehicles. Do we know, I know it says short-term, do we have any idea of a time frame in which those particular safety concerns might be able to be rectified, please?
Through the chair, the report is not specific about a time frame for those safety improvements. Our general way of managing the risk down there is signage. But what this is saying, what our report presented here is saying, well, let's look at master planning the whole site so that we remove those risks entirely rather than just manage risks with advisory signage.
No, thank you. Then I think that sort of pretty much stipulates the second one as well. But it's one of those things that it has to be brought to the forefront to say, look, these are the identified concerns so that we actually know what we're going to be dealing with, and we've prioritised that as being obviously something that we're going to be considering. That there's lots of good things happening in it, especially in the longer term. We'll be looking at recycling street and so forth. I think it's quite wonderful. Never thought I'd be saying that about an old-fashioned tip, but anyway, look, it is. It's exciting. It's all a new development about FOGO, including that, and our potential to reuse and recycle and reduce. So it very much is an exciting plan. And as I said, without that little bit of safety concern, where we've already said that, look, we're going to be treating this with a bit of a priority. We've identified it, and as soon as we are able, then it will be handled. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fagan.
I think this is a really interesting plan. I really quite like going to the tip. I think we've got a great recycling facility. When we moved it quite a number of years ago, there was a great deal of angst because everyone felt it was far too far out of town. But it's actually proved to be a bonus for us, and it's very well run, and I'm very pleased to have this report, which I think will take us further into the future. We have to include, we never ever thought we'd have to do FOGO, recycling or CDS. So the first original plan was was fairly focused. It was modern at the time, but I think this is a great addendum, and it will progress what we're trying to do out there. The short-term plan has, the layout is quite comprehensive, and I think it really addresses some of the problems that we have and provide as it says here, the interim measures provide low-cost pathway to address current operational challenges while maintaining full compatibility with long-term master plan. So I think it's great that it actually has a few issues that we can deal with straight away without too much cost, and then look at the whole long-term plan as we go. I'm sure you'll come up with a budget and ask us to pay for it. So I'm looking forward to, as it goes on, this will be an ongoing, and it'll make it an even more modern facility than it is now. And it's actually well known in the Centre West that we have a really good facility, and I think this just adds to it. So congratulations. I think it'll be a great ongoing plan for us.
Any other comments? Councillor Watt?
Thanks. Quick question. Are the short-term works currently funded in the long-term financial plan, or are there additional works for us to consider?
Through the Chair, what our report says is in the introduction was that we need to complete the financial modelling of the revenues required for the options, both short-term and long-term, because ultimately the idea will be to put the capital costs in the long-term financial plan and also projected income to cover the capital costs, like not to preempt what we're going to discuss down the track, but Orange City, for example, has a different rate for out-of-town disposal than it does for out of LGA disposal than what it does for in LGA. So we look after our businesses and things like that.
Fantastic, thank you. And very much want to back up what the previous two councillors have said. This is a really big, comprehensive, I think was the word used by Councillor Fagan, report, going from, education around community recycling to intricate details of what kind of, leachate and how we're going to manage it, and all of the different chemicals and products that come from managing waste. It's got a really good balance, I think, of planning for the future and trying to reduce or reverse the trends around this. And I think, engaging Tallis and the work that our team at the MRF have done with them to develop such a detailed plan really is setting the base for us going forward. And I think, as noted in that response from the director, it's, this is going to be a significant financial investment over a long time to keep maintaining this. It is ongoingly for us to do this, but we do operate a MRF that is very well regarded, chosen by Cleanaway to be the place to process CDS, something that our community do find they can go along to, and the better we do in managing waste and reducing the waste, the better the outcomes will be, obviously, for the MRF. So thank you very much for this. It's not the end of the conversation at all, but really good progress, and I think a really great shift we've made in the last few years to focusing on where we're acting in that environmental sustainability and looking to the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Passed. Thank you. 7.2, the Glen Logan Road Draft Landfill Environmental Management Plan. Councillor Kiss, Councillor Watt. Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is a recommendation that we receive and note the Landfill Environmental Management Plan for our MRF. And it's then obviously going to go to the EPA before it comes back to Council for consideration. And I've taken from this very lengthy document that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Director, that this is simply stating that it's going to cost an awful lot if we try to create additional landfill waste cells. We will need more space for our additional landfill in the future. So the best bet seems to be reconfiguring the designs on the contours, which are currently out of date now anyway, to overtop or basically put the additional waste on top of the current structures that we have, because they're already approved for withholding leachate and so forth. and that if we're able to do that, we will have sufficient landfill space until 2047. And I did find it quite interesting to note in the beginning of the document where it talks about that things used to cost a lot less to have them done, and now literally everything is getting more expensive. Where this is headed, I don't really know. Don't want to really look at what happens in 2047 as to how much it'll cost then to have new facilities built. But anyway, in the meantime, seems to be a way of handling our additional waste within the best financial constraints that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and as is always the way in what we do, bureaucracy, move a motion to say what we're going to do and then do the thing. I absolutely agree with everything Councillor Kiss has said. We are in a really great position where with these changes we can have a landfill that has the capacity to last that far ahead, and taking these strategic choices now will hopefully mean we don't get stuck with the situation that many councils do of desperately having to find more land and set up a new location, which is quite costly in itself. I just wanted to highlight there's a little the sentence here which I think is really important, that we will need to seek a licence variation, which will mean that we will need to make updates to the overall MRF to be compliant with current regulations, which we weren't required to under our previous licence around gas monitoring, additional groundwater monitoring. But that's really important that in this instance that we are compliant with those things, even though we weren't required under our current licence. I think that the objective of this council is to do the best that we can do to be sustainable and make sure that we are making that space as safe as possible for our community. So I think it's a good position. Some people might go, oh, well, we won't do it because it's going to bring on additional regulatory costs. But in this instance, I think those costs and works are really important for our community.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. 7.3, the committee minutes of the Transport Forum. I'll move that. Councillor Kiss, thank you. These minutes, there were only two major things that were of any great deal of change. One was the change from Doncaster Drive from 80 k's an hour to 50. There were a lot of different thoughts in the room. We've referred it to Transport for New South Wales because they're the speed limit people. It comes out of an 80k zone on Canounda Road and goes into an 80k zone at the top of Minnie Creek Road. But there is a street comes out into it, and there are a few houses that come out onto it as well. So we've put that to Transport for New South Wales, and they can make a decision on that. The other thing that was the main thing out of the ordinary was St Raph's have asked that we move the pedestrian crossing up the hill in Lachlan Street, but to do so it doesn't comply with line of sight, because the crest of the hill, you'll come over the crest and straight onto the roundabout. There was someone on it, you might see them, but you won't see the not roundabout, the pedestrian crossing. So that was the other thing. So we decided to leave the pedestrian crossing where it is. So, Councillor Kiss.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yeah, look, I understand the school's request, but yeah, it simply isn't going to work, as you said, with the line of sight. And look, as far as the Doncaster Drive, I've wondered for quite some time why we kept it at an 80 zone. I feel it's not only dangerous because people tend to slow down and stop when they're going to the cemetery, but in a way, we're holding significant memorial events there, and for me, it just seems disrespectful to have a car hooning past. Hooning, it seems to be hooning, but it's actually only doing the speed limit. So fully supportive of it being reduced for that specific reason. Thank you.
Any other comments, Councillor Watt?
Just noting here, there was a date in the action items for the changes to the Liverpool Street, Brisbane Street roundabout to be completed earlier this month. Just wanted to check on, that's obviously not correct, but where we're at now.
I'll advise the council of the next planned date because I was going to say the 12th, which was the Sunday, we got rained out, so just organising with the team to pick another date. So it is underway.
Anybody else have any other comments? Councillor Wright?
Yeah. Well, I can agree with you, but the pedestrian crossing, I presume it's the top of Lachlan Street, at Liverpool Street there, and you did make a bit of a slip up when you mentioned a roundabout. Well, that's what you should be mentioning. There should be a roundabout put there to take the pressure off cars having to go around the block to get back in onto Kendall Street to go either up or down it again when they get to the bottom. And it would take a lot of pressure off the St Raphael's school bus parking there and that. And I think the pedestrian crossing down the bottom is probably the best place for it. I also see that there's been demolition work on the old boat shop fuel depot, service station, and I really think that the traffic committee should consider shifting that lump of cement off the road in front of Super Cheap Auto, give the developer back the $40,000 he had to leave there as a warranty clause in his development, and have a turning lane from the end right up to there, like you have in the bottom end of Kendall Street, so the Catholics can get all the cars they need to into their service station, and the townhouse motor inn can get both sides of the street into their establishment, because that cement was supposed to go right down to Lachlan Street, but a few people with a bit of supposedly influence stopped that. And I think the turning lane, I think there's enough room there between the hotel and the new service station right along to Super Cheap Auto to have a turning lane there for people to turn right into either side of the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Downing.
Just a question. It states that the 40-kilometre speed limit decision for the main street will be back June or July. It's not back June as yet.
Obviously, it didn't come in June. Look, we've heard nothing back at this point in time. No,
that's okay. Thank you.
It's in the process. It's in the process. I'll just say that there has. Just hang on a sec, Councillor Wright. There has been a lot of staff changes at Transport for New South Wales, and probably a fair few things will get behind, because they've certainly changed all the people. The person we had that came to our traffic committee, we've now got a new one, so a lot of changes there. Councillor Wright.
Can I ask a question of anyone on the front bench that might know? Speed limits, they're only an advisory sign. It doesn't mean you've got to do them. If there's cars on the road, you don't drive at the speed limit if it's going to cause an accident. That's the way the traffic law operates, isn't it?
Yeah, they're maximum signs, not minimums. I always had to teach my kids when they were learning to drive that exactly what you said. You don't have to drive at 50 k's. And I also told them the fact that car's got a blinker on doesn't mean it's going to turn. It just means that it's got a blinker on, because sometimes they don't. Any other comments? That was my right of reply. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Pass. Thank you. Righto, we're up to 8.1, late reports. The councillor information request is in your pink folders. There was only one question on it today. Would someone move that that be accepted? Councillor Fagan, thank you. Councillor Horton, Councillor Fagan? Councillor Horton? Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Fagan. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass, thank you. Are there any urgent matters for motions without notice? Councillor Wright? I've got a motion will have to be passed to have the business considered at the meeting, and it has to be considered to be ruled by the chairperson to be of great urgency on the grounds that it requires a decision by council before the next scheduled ordinary meeting of council. Does it fit those parameters?
Well, in my opinion, which is quite wide and knowledgeable, I think it does. Would you like to hear what it is?
I certainly would.
In the media, there was a lot of coverage of a homeless mother that lost a baby or something on the banks of the Wagga River giving birth. And I think the state government's formulating a policy where if there's these sort of camps and areas or the homeless, you've got a homeless problem in this area, in the areas, they'll get some extra support. And I was just wondering if we can ask the necessary people that might know the homeless situation in Cowra, what the situation is and what sort of help they might need.
I've got no problem with that. I just wonder if it can't wait till the next council meeting. We're in the middle of winter, so it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse if it's going to get better.
No, I'll accept that. Then at least you've got one item for next meeting.
Well, I'm happy to deal with it. It's only a recommendation that we ask people to find out. So the answer will have to come back to us anyway. But the sooner we get that underway, the better. So, anyone wish to comment on that, Councillor Horton? Actually, before we do, sorry, Councillor, I'll need a motion that we deal with this. I'm accepting that it's of an urgent nation. So, Councillor Fagan, seconder, Councillor Horton, thank you. So, that's been dealt with. So we put that motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. So we will deal with it. Yeah, Councillor Wright, you just articulate how you would like that.
I just ask the relevant council officers to ask the relevant community groups in Cowra of their knowledge of any homeless people and their living conditions, and whether the state government's offer of help would be of any use to solving the problem. Thank you.
Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Horton. Do you want to speak to that now, Councillor Wright?
Yeah, I'll do this more often. Yeah, no, it's not a good situation, and it seems to happen in the bigger areas. Like for a city of Wagga to have these events, have this event happen when it did, it's quite disturbing. But then they seem to have indicated there's more than one settlement of these people along the bank of the river or somewhere in Wagga, and I'd just like us to look in our area. There might be people in the villages even that are camping there. Sometimes we see a car at the gun club 2 or 3 days a week, evenings a week, and I don't know if they're just looking the planes come in and go out or something, but there could be more of it going on, and I think we should be aware of it, and if the government's got some help in that line, or if they haven't, we can push for that line to help these people. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I think Councillor Wright's correct. Sometimes in large areas or where there's a greater population concentration, it can be more visible. A homeless issue can be more visible. That certainly doesn't mean it's not happening in smaller communities like ours and certainly in the villages that are around. You're absolutely right. You can see vehicles parked in locations, the Gun Club being one of them, but there are plenty of others. Down by the river at some reserves where there's specific signs that say you can't stay overnight here, but clearly people are. So I think even an anecdotal audit, trying to get a sense of the size and scope and nature of the issue, and then seeking whatever support we can from our colleagues at the state level. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Downing?
I was asked recently if Cowra Council has a community safety action plan, which Wagga Council does have. It's from 2022 to 2026, and that's not only crime, but it's also safety of people and having housing and that kind of thing. So Cowra Council does not have that, but other community groups do, maybe the police, maybe SYNC, that kind of thing. So it would be very useful to talk to them and find out what's happening in our community and help in any way we can to lobby and advocate for more money.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Cave?
I just have some thing about homeless people. A lot of them do need lighting because they're feeling a little bit unsafe if they stay in the dark area. So they are using those places where you say you can't park because it's a community too. So they're a little community, they're lost. So they're going to use the lighting areas. Then that's why you're getting those people there, because they are unsafe out on the where there's no traffic or anything. So that's what I think they're doing.
Any other comments? Well, Councillor Wright, would you like to have a right of reply?
No thanks, no thanks. I think people understand what I want and what I'm looking for, and we'll see what it comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. Righto, we go to confidential matters. The confidential general committee recommendations, have we got to turn that, I've got to hit the motion first. Of Tuesday the 9th of June, 10.1 request for tender 32026 replacement plant number 100, 1 telescopic handler. 10.2 request for tender 4 2026 design, supply and installation and commissioning of solar photovoltaic battery energy storage and power factor correction system. Also 11.1 request for tender 12026 wet plant hire panel, and 11.2 request for 2026 dry plant hire panel. Council is satisfied that pursuant to section 10A2 of C of the Local Government Act of 1993, the information to be received, discussed or considered in relation to these agenda items is information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Not required, thank you.
Any other comments? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not necessary, thank
I'll
you.
put the motion. All those in favour? Pass, thank you.